Jane Toppan, March 31, 1854, August 17, 1938, born Honora Kelly, was an American serial killer, nicknamed Jolly Jane. After her arrest in 1901, she confessed to 31 murders. Toppan is quoted as saying that her ambition was to have killed more people, helpless people, than any other man or woman who ever lived. Early life. Jane Toppan was born Honora Kelly on March 31, 1854, the daughter of Irish immigrants. Her mother, Bridget Kelly, died of tuberculosis when she was very young. Her father, Peter Kelly, was well known as an eccentric and abusive alcoholic, nicknamed by those who knew him, Kelly the Crack, as in, crackpot. In later years, Kelly became the source of many local rumors concerning his supposed insanity, the most popular of which being that his madness finally drove him to sew his own eyelids closed while working as a tailor. In 1860, only a few years after his wife's death, Kelly took his two youngest children, 8-year-old Delia Josephine and 6-year-old Honora, to the Boston Female Asylum, an orphanage for indigent female children. Kelly surrendered the two girls, never to see them again. Documents from the asylum note that they were rescued from a very miserable home. No records exist of Delia and Honora's experiences during their time in the asylum, but reportedly Delia became a prostitute, while their older sister Nellie, who was not committed to the orphanage, was committed to an insane asylum. In November 1862, less than 2 years after her father had left them, Honora Kelly was placed as an indentured servant in the home of Mrs. N.C. Toppan of Lowell, Massachusetts. Though never formally adopted by the Toppans, Honora took on the surname of her benefactors and eventually became known as Toppan. The original Toppan family already had a daughter, Elizabeth, whom Honora was on good terms with. Motives. An article in the Hoosier State Chronicles, published shortly after Toppan's arrest, reported that she would fondle her victims as they died and attempt to see the inner workings of their souls through their eyes. Under questioning, Toppan stated she derived a sexual thrill from patients being near death, coming back to life and then dying again. Toppan administered a drug mixture to the patients she chose as her victims, lay with them and held them close to her as they died. Toppan is often considered an angel of death, a type of serial killer who takes on a caretaker role and attacks the vulnerable and dependent, though she also murdered for seemingly more personal reasons, such as in the case of the Davis family. It is possible Toppan was also motivated by jealousy, in the case of the murder of her foster sister. She later described her motivation as a paralysis of thought and reason, a strong urge to poison. Toppan used poison for more than just murder, reportedly poisoning a housekeeper just enough so that she appeared drunk in order to steal her job and kill the family. She even poisoned herself to evoke the sympathy of men she was courting. Murders. In 1885, Toppan began training to be a nurse at Cambridge Hospital. Unlike her early years, where she was described as brilliant and terrible, at the hospital she was well liked, bright and friendly, evoking the nickname Jolly Jane. Once Toppan became close with the patients, she picked her favored ones. The patients were normally elderly and very sick. During her residency, Toppan used her patients as guinea pigs in experiments with morphine and atropine. She altered their prescribed dosages to see what it did to their nervous systems. However, she spent considerable time alone with patients, making up fake charts and medicating them to drift in and out of consciousness and even getting into bed with them. Toppan was recommended for the prestigious Massachusetts General Hospital in 1889. There, she claimed several more victims before being fired the following year. She briefly returned to Cambridge but was soon dismissed for administering opiates recklessly. Toppan then began a career as a private nurse and flourished despite complaints of petty theft. Toppan began her poisoning spree in earnest in 1895 by killing her landlord, Israel Dunham, and his wife. In 1899, she killed her foster sister Elizabeth with a dose of strychnine. In 1901, Toppan moved in with the elderly Alden Davis and his family in Catawba to take care of him after the death of his wife, Maddie, whom Toppan had murdered. Within weeks, she killed Davis, his sister Edna, and two of his daughters, Minnie and Genevieve. The surviving members of the Davis family ordered a toxicology exam on Alden Davis' youngest daughter, Minnie. The report found that she had been poisoned, and local authorities put a police detail on Toppan. On October 29, 1901, she was arrested for murder. By 1902, she had confessed to 31 murders. Soon after the trial, one of William Randolph Hearst's newspapers, the New York Journal, printed what was purported to be Toppan's confession to her lawyer, claiming that she had killed more than 31 people and that she wanted the jury to find her sane so she could eventually have a chance at being released. Toppan insisted upon her own sanity in court, claiming that she could not be insane if she knew what she was doing and knew that it was wrong, but nonetheless she was declared insane and committed. On June 23, in the Barnstable County Courthouse, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity and committed for life in the Taunton Insane Hospital. Victims Toppan identified are: Israel Dunham, patient, died on May 26, 1895, age 83. Lovely Dunham, patient, died on September 19, 1897, age 87. Elizabeth Brigham, foster sister, died on August 29, 1899, age 70. Mary McNear, patient, died on December 28, 1899, age 70. Florence Calkins, housekeeper for Elizabeth, died on January 15, 1900, age 45. William Ingraham, patient, died on January 27, 1900, age 70. Sarah Myra Connors, patient and friend, died on February 11, 1900, age 48. Maddie Davis, wife of Alden, died on July 4, 1901, age 62. Genevieve Gordon Annie, daughter of Alden and Maddie, died on July 31, 1901. Alden Davis, died on August 8, 1901, age 64. Mary Minnie Gibbs, daughter of Alden and Maddie, died on August 13, 1901, age 40. Edna Bannister, sister-in-law of Elizabeth, died on August 26, 1901, age 77. Fictional portrayals and legacy. In the independent film American Nightmare, written and directed by John Kevs, Debbie Rochland portrays a serial killer named Jane Toppan who manages to kill numerous characters throughout the course of the film by various means. The character is also employed as a nurse. This character was inspired by Toppan. Toppan was the subject of one of 6 monologues in the play Murderess by Anne Bertram, which premiered in St. Paul, Minnesota, at Theater Unbound. She was portrayed by Laura Weavers in the segment The Truth About Miss Toppan, directed by Misha Burns Edwards. The play opened to favorable reviews. Minneapolis Star-Tribune theater critic William Randall Beer called the Toppan segment a chilling portrait of a sociopath nurse. Toppan was featured in an episode of Deadly Women and episodes of the podcasts Criminal, My Favorite Murder, Serial Killers, an episode of Hellvater, Lauren Bailey's Ariane series Murder Mystery and Makeup. See also Serial Killers with Health-Related Professions. List of serial killers in the United States. References. Sources: Schechter, Harold, Fatal, The Poisonous Life of a Female Serial Killer, 2003. Lane, Brian and Greg, Wilfred. The Encyclopedia of Serial Killers, 1995. External links: profile, crimemuseum.org.